What is up, people? Welcome back to the channel. First off, I have another channel now. It's linked in the description. Subscribe right now. Now with that out of the way, Skarloey, along with Edward, Henry, Toby, and a good list of others, is considered to be one of the most inconsistent characters in the entirety of the franchise. So inconsistent, in fact, that most people collectively agree that his number of good appearances is relatively scarce. Yet somehow, people can still adore him. But with that out of the way, let's get started with yet another hell of an episode on Let's Talk Comics. Now, before we get into the episode itself, I want to elaborate on what I said in the intro. And based on what was said, you could probably guess that Skarloey isn't the best when it comes to consistent greatness. For the majority of the classic series, Skarloey has this kind of old-timey, naive persona. In the later seasons, he doesn't practically do anything making him worthy of the title he was given. He didn't do much in Season 6, but in Season 7 he had an entire episode doing whatever the hell this is. Skarloey the Brave, they say. Well, how the turntables. As for the new series, well, seeing how they literally do every narrowgauge engine that isn't Duncan's, Sir Handel, Freddy to an extent, completely wrong, you can guess how they handled Skarloey. In this span of the show, that naive character sort of comes into play more, and an immature side of him really starts to show. He made more irritable mistakes, got into even more petty drama with his peers, and only continued to show the polar opposite of what he was labeled as. To each their own, this was a painful coming of events, but luckily he was abolished with the rest of them from the earliest days of the Miller era. But then he just had to come back. To be fair, the NG boyos were a lot more bearable as a whole after coming into CGI. But Skarloey, okay, so he's Indian, which is fine, but it's a bit off-putting. Oh, not to mention he's a rule-stickling asshole, which is definitely at its worst in Blue Mountain Mystery, but isn't necessarily great anywhere else. After BMM, the man really didn't have any notable appearances, and unfortunately stayed as a not-so-prominent side character for the rest of the show. So, all that said, you might be wondering, why the hell do people like this character? I mean, he's got a few fine appearances, but if we run this through statistics, he's really bad. But the love that sheds onto this character all mainly stems from one major spectacle. Thomas and Friends, Season 4, Episode 5, Four Little Engines. This is Skarloey's best appearance, without a shadow of a doubt. One of his only good appearances. Definitely his only good episode. But let's elaborate as to why this episode is so scrumdiddly. In its simplest form, Skarloey talks to Edward, Sir Handel acts like a bum, Skarloey takes over, he breaks himself, but says fuck it to its safety and finishes the job anyway. Skarloey is a lot like Edward, in the sense of being looked down upon for his age. But he doesn't often get the light of day to show what he's really made of. So when Sir Handel fumbles the bag, Skarloey sees this as a chance, and he takes it. On his way to his proclaimed destination, he finds himself struggling due to his old, outdated parts. But not so long after his first struggle, he finds himself to a slow, painful stop. His spring gave away and his driver shut off steam, leaving Skarloey lopsided and ashamed. But the idea of a potential bust flies into conversation, and just like that, Skarloey is up and ready to run, saying he's gonna make it to the station or die trying. Skarloey then chads up and brings his passengers to the station on the singular spring that he had left, no questions asked. He perseveres to the very end and gets a promised overhaul leading into the end of the episode. Now this is what Skarloey needs to be. At his best, he's an old heart with a righteous spirit. He's well aware that his youth is far behind him, and he doesn't give two shits about it. He'll still do whatever he can for the railway of which he is named. And while the rest of the show pretty much does him like some ass, this episode will forever live down in history as the prime example of what Skarloey should always be. Well, surprise, surprise. Look how quickly I threw this thing together. Yeah, I'm back at school, so don't expect any, consistent uploads. I mean, I uploaded last week, but I don't know, coincidence, I guess. Yeah, I wasn't joking about what I said at the beginning of the video. Go subscribe to my new channel, now.
Thank you for almost 800 subscribers. That's, wow. But, yeah, I don't have anything else to say. So, I'll see you when I decide to upload again.